name is Louise Dobbs. I'm Minister of Music here. Usually Dr. Kim is here, but she is busy right now working on something that you'll find out about later. She's working on a concert with Magpie, and that'll be fun to see. But anyway, Stretch, good morning. Hello, hello. I have a song for you. It's called Light One Candle, and Peter Yarrow wrote this. And he was part of Peter, Paul, and Mary, and it was a really popular song they did.
Some of them.
So if you could mute yourselves, that would be helpful. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle, the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our hope and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our hope and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. And light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learned long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger not tear us apart. And light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our hearts. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our hope and our tears. Sorry. What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it alive in that flame? What is the commitment to those who have died that we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice would somehow prevail. This is our burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out, don't let the light go out.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Joseph Hepburn, and I'm a member of the church in Ocean Park. We are all members here, and we are here to welcome you to this unique interfaith community that is dedicated to social justice. Now, you may be wondering if you are welcome here. We are interfaith, so you are welcome if you are Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian atheist, religious atheist, as one patient said to me, or some combination of these altogether. So you are welcome if you are just coming from a protest march, or if you aren't able to get to a protest march. You are welcome if you are able to not see any of the football FIFA games. You are welcome. You're welcome if you missed the Pride Month, if you are participating in some that are online or not. You are welcome if you don't have a job, never had a job, or don't want a job. You are welcome if you are a renter, landlord, or both. We extend a special welcome to those who are single, married, divorced, gay, filthy rich, or dirty poor. We extend a special invitation to those who are just browsing, just woke up, or just got out of prison. Now, we don't care if you're more religious than the Dalai Lama or more ceremonial than the new king. We extend a special invitation to those who are over 60, those who are millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, you name it, and those who are too aged to be classified. We invite soccer moms, tree huggers, lattice sippers, vegetarians, junk food eaters. Are there more? Yes. We invite you if you are having problems, or if you are down in the dumps, if you don't like organized religion, or think this is a strange church. We offer a special invitation to those who work too hard, don't work, or can't find a proper job at this time. We offer a special invitation now to those who could use a prayer right now at this Christmas season. We invite tourists, seekers, doubters, bleeding hearts, oh, you name it, we invite you all. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Janet Gallery McKithen, and I'm the minister here at the church in Ocean Park, and I also welcome you. I'm glad that you're here this morning. The church in Ocean Park is a diverse and ever-expanding community, and so we do have a variety of leaders, and we have times of sharing. That's one of the absolutely beautiful and unique things about the church in Ocean Park, is that we share and that there are different kinds of leaders every Sunday and different people who you can hear. The diversity and listening to each other helps us to stay alive and to be vibrant, and helps each one of us grow. But it can also be jarring in some instances. Oops. It also can be jarring in some instances. Since we have different belief systems and different life experiences, there might be times that something someone says kind of catches you in the wrong way, or you disagree with it. As you hear them, just remember that even though they just spoke, their perspective is important, so is yours. So if you disagree with someone, remember that your voice and opinion is just as important. And if a topic comes up that you'd like to discuss more, let us know in writing in the chat with your email, and we'll follow up and offer a time to discuss that topic. We begin our time together with a land acknowledgement. We, the people of the church in Ocean Park, recognize that our building in the Santa Monica area sits on stolen land. To all our relations, we, the settlers of this land, honor the Kizh, the Tongva, and the Chumash peoples. We acknowledge the harms of genocide, enslavement, forced assimilation, gender violence, destruction of sacred sites, and the burial of historic truth about Indigenous suffering at the hands of US colonial settlerism. We apologize for the harm, and we pledge ourselves to work to dismantle the systems that encourage and allow and facilitate oppression. Let us join our hearts to the protection of sacred sites and villages, as well as the Indigenous people who live among us. Let us take a moment in silence to remember.
And now we welcome Bob Gord.
Good morning. In a moment, I'm going to light an Advent calendar, not calendar, but candle that symbolizes love. I'm going to read a passage about love. It's from a book, this book, which is called See No Stranger, and it's by Valerie Kaur. This book not only is the next book on the CRJ book group's agenda, but is a book that Janet is urging everyone in the church to read so that we could all be talking about it. And I thought might be nice to share a passage from that. Okay, here's what Valerie says under the heading of definitions. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving. A choice we make over and over again. Love can be taught, modeled, and practiced. It engages all our emotions. Joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. Revolutionary love is the choice to labor for others, for our opponents, and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It begins with wonder. You are a part of me I do not yet know. It is not a formal code or prescription, but an orientation to life that is personal and political, sustained by joy. Loving only ourselves is escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. Loving only others is ineffective. All three practices together make love revolutionary, and revolutionary love can only be practiced in community. So with those thoughts in mind, I light the purple candle that symbolizes love.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bob. I have invited Jean Gasca to share some songs today. Jean Gasca is a California native, and besides being a pianist, choir singer, beloved member of Church in Ocean Park, she's an educator, mostly of math and science. She celebrated her own bat mitzvah in 2008 and has sung with the Temple Akiba Choir in Culver City for 14 years. Also, she is our host of Tuesdays at 2, which is a weekly hour on Zoom of variety programming we have been hosting since the beginning of COVID. Please welcome Jean Gasca.
Thank you, Louise. So this first song is O Hanukkah, O Hanukkah. I'm going to play it first on the piano and then I'll sing it for you. Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. I stayed in tune. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jean. I'm just going to do a brief introduction of Gary Buchler, who is a friend of our friend of a friend of ours. We know Barry, and Gary is a friend of Barry's. But Gary is also, he produces live events all over Los Angeles since 2010. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and made his way to Los Angeles after a 4-year layover in Houston, Texas, where he met his wife, Cricket. Together, they have produced, he's a producer, and they've produced 4 children. Gary is a regular contributor to the New Yorker Cartoon Caption Contest. He is also the producer of the Moth Radio Hour on NPR. Welcome, Gary Buchler.
Hi, how are you? Hi, everyone. It is great to see you all here. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak to you about Hanukkah. When Rabbi David Aaron, the author of Endless Light, describes Hanukkah, he suggests a magical store where they sell flashlights equipped with magic lights of different kinds. For example, you can buy the light of science, and when you point that flashlight at your hand, you don't see your hand, but you see cells and blood vessels, tendons and ligaments. Or you can buy the light of art, and you point that flashlight at your hand and you see form and color, negative space and texture. And you're having a lot of fun trying out all these different flashlights and exploring all the different lights. And when you see one labeled the light of Hanukkah. So what would you see with that light? What's special about the light of Hanukkah? And before I go into all that, let me just ask you this in the chat, if you have it open, what words or elements or themes do you guys think of when you think of If you have any when you think of Hanukkah, if you have any associations with Hanukkah, go ahead and just pop them in the chat. I just want to see what some things we see. Miracles, latkes. Yes, lots of latkes. Anything fried. We're big on the fried stuff. Candles, of course. Singing. Janet's our plant. Joy dreidels, small gifts. That's right. Yeah, these are all perfectly aligned with how we honor the day. So before I really... Oh, dreidels that your kids made in preschool. Linda, what did they make them out of? You can either come off mute or in the chat. What did they make the dreidels out of in preschool? If you made it out of clay, then I guess that would have been the assumption. There we go. All right. So before I go into any of the details of the meaning of Hanukkah, I just want to recap the holiday. So just to recap the holiday story, there's a joke that Jews tell each other about Jewish holidays. And when we talk about Hanukkah, the theme that we always say is, they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. And in the Hanukkah story, the ones that were trying to kill us were the Syrian Greeks. In the 2nd century BC, the Syrian Greek, King Antiochus, ruled over the land of Israel. And Antiochus had a strong religious zeal for Zeus. He even believed himself to be a physical manifestation of Zeus on earth. And in his zeal, King Antiochus decreed that the Jews were no longer permitted to practice their religion. And to put a point on it, he sent his troops to the holiest site in all of Judaism, the temple in Jerusalem, and he had them desecrated and rededicated to Zeus. The Jews rebelled, and 4 years later, they were able to recapture the temple and rededicate it to the one God of Judaism. The miracle of Hanukkah that is passed down comes from this rededication. As the story is told, when the Jews entered the temple, they immediately went to relight the Ner Tamid, an eternal light that hung in the temple and was to always be lit. But in the temple, they only found a single jar of the special sanctified oil, enough to burn only for 1 day. A messenger was sent out to secure more oil, an errand that they knew would take 8 days. And even though they had no reason to think lighting it would make any difference, because it was just going to go out in a day, they lit it, and miraculously, the single jar of oil continued to burn until the messenger's return. The rabbis attribute the 8 days of Hanukkah to the miracle of the single jar of the oil lasting for 8 days. Sorry, give me 1 second. Hanukkah means dedication, and the festival that commemorates the purification, and it's the festival that commemorates the purification and rededication of the temple following the Syrian Greek occupation of the holy place. And that is why when you're in this magic shop with the special lights and you grab the one marked the light of Hanukkah and you point it at your hand, you see that everything is a miracle. Even nature is actually a miracle. Albert Einstein once said there are two ways of looking at the world. Either you see nothing as a miracle, or you see everything as a miracle. The Jews of the Hanukkah story saw everything as a miracle. The Syrian Greeks saw nothing as a miracle. To them, a miracle was an absurdity. To them, only what is reasonable, logical, and rational can be real. Miracles were illogical and therefore not possible. The Syrian Greeks could never access the light of Hanukkah, the light of miracles, because they only believed in the light of reason. To them, the world always existed. It never was created. Nothing unusual could happen. History marched on as a consequence on top of the last consequence. Similarly, their view of God, or rather gods, was of super beings detached from the world, contemplating themselves. Their gods didn't care about man, and for the Syrian Greeks, nothing was new under the sun. What was always will be. Therefore, miracles were impossible. This is why Judaism irritated them so much that they decided to wipe it out. The Torah teaches that God created the world, loves and cares about us, and invites us to be her partner in making history and perfecting the world. The Syrian Greeks assumed that the world was perfect already. Everything was already as it should be. The world was eternal, history was inevitable, and God was impersonal. No exceptions of miracles, no hope. Life for them was a Greek tragedy. But the Torah believes in a God of miracles. And if God wills it, something radical and new can happen at any moment. In the light of Hanukkah, we see that everything is a miracle and only love is real. Anything is possible and gives us reason to never lose hope. So before I close, I just want to point out one last thing. Since it's taught that Hanukkah is celebrated to honor the miracle of the oil lasting 8 days, I just want to throw this out there and ask if that is the real miracle of the holiday that we should be celebrating. While clearly 1 day's worth of oil lasting for 8 days is miraculous, I want to suggest that there's even a greater miracle. Understand that the temple was no stranger to miracles. This is a place that is said to be the spot where God's presence was felt the strongest on earth. Miracles happen there all the time. What I think the true miracle of the oil is that the Jews standing there with just 1 day's worth of oil, knowing that they were more than a week away from getting any more, knowing that the flame was just going to go out again before more arrived, they lit the thing anyway. The level of faith it must have taken to light the Ner Tamid under those circumstances and hope for the best is nothing short of miraculous. Because the light they lit didn't just stay illuminated for 8 days. For 2,000 years, Jews all over the world have been lighting candles every year to honor this miraculous moment of faith and dedication. The light didn't last for 8 days. It's lasted for 2,000 years. The Hanukkah story reminds us that one act of faith shined a light for 2,000 years. So I leave you with this thought. What act will you do this holiday season and over the next year that will bring more light into this world? What's out there that you can do? And thank you so much for having me.
And now another song with Jean Gasca.
This song is Mao Tzur, which is Rock of Ages in English. And it's a song in which the Hebrews thank God for helping them to win the battle against their foes, even when their strength left them. So I'm going to play it for you on the piano, I'm going to sing it in Hebrew and then in English. Tzur Yeshuati, L'chada El Shebeach, Tikon Beit Lefilati, Visham Toda Nazabeach, Le'etachin Bat Beach, Metzar Hamnabeach, Azegmor, Beshir Mizmor, Hanukkah Hamizbeach, Azegmor, Beshir Mizmor, Hanukkah Hamizbeach. Rock of ages, hear our song, praise thy saving power. Thou amidst the raging foes was our sheltering tower. Furious they assailed us, but thine arm availed us, and thy word broke their sword when our own strength failed us, and thy word broke their sword when our own strength failed us.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Gary. I think you left us with some really good questions for our community sharing.
I was thinking when Gary was talking about enough oil for one night, but there was the practice of trust and faith.
Right. Thank you, Bonnie. Craig Ali.
Yes, I'm wondering, and I would appreciate being corrected if I am speaking in error. But I've always, as much as I've noticed Hanukkah and Christmas, generally one ends before, the celebration of the other. I've never really seen where the two are, within each other. And I'm wondering if what is it that Christianity or Christmas borrows from Hanukkah, or what, if anything, Hanukkah borrows from Christianity in the way of its observance, because both of these things were, highly persecuted. Both of these faiths were highly persecuted by at least some sorts of elements in that. So as a celebration, I'm looking.
At least the time of year is coincidental. The reason why they don't usually tend to overlap is because Hanukkah occurs according to the Hebrew calendar, which is lunar based, and Christmas is on the Gregorian calendar, so it's always on the same date, December 25th. Ours always falls on the same date on the Hebrew calendar, so they don't, and it can fluctuate. A few years ago, it fell during Thanksgiving, which was like the first time in 400 years that it had happened. So, it moves around a little bit. The one parallel that I do think is that the two holidays share is an idea of bringing, I think, light into the world. They're both happening at the darkest time of the year.
Right.
And Christmas is honored. One of the way Christmas is honored is by decorating your homes and putting lights on the outside and in the house, on a tree, and really filling up the space with light. And so that's definitely a metaphor that I think both holidays share.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just add to that Christmas has borrowed from many different traditions. Judaism is much older than Christianity, for sure. Okay, Jean? And then Jerry.
Gary, I just wanted to say I loved your story about the store with the lights that you can shine on your hand. I loved that story. It was just
good.
Wonderful metaphor.
Well, David Aaron, who I borrowed that from, his book Endless Light is a great read if you're looking for some more inspiration.
Oh, thank you. All right, thanks.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. happy holidays to everybody. I really like that song that you sang, Louise, about keeping the light going. It's really cool. I was born on the first day of Hanukkah many days ago when it fluctuates around. So I always think about that and kind of feel bad that I can't find the menorah that my wife Marissa would always like. It was my mom's menorah, and I've been looking all over for it. Just can't find it, but I'll probably cruise on over to the promenade when they're lighting the menorah tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm not really religious, but I love all the songs and the traditions and the latkes, and I love Santa Claus, and I love the Christmas carols and all the stuff of Kwanzaa and everything. So I just want to say thank you for all this stuff. One thing I kind of feeling is a bad thing necessarily if you're a good, loving person and you're trying to be that way, with everything. So I'd like you to elaborate a little on that, Gary, if you could.
Oh, absolutely. And I apologize. I didn't mean to suggest that it was an either or scenario. I appreciate you bringing that up. Judaism has a strong devotion to science and understanding of nature and the way the world works. It's not an either or scenario. I think I was stating in contrast to the Greeks, who didn't allow for the possibility of miracles, whereas Judaism does hold science and learning and understanding dear, while still recognizing the possibilities for miracles, things that we can't explain. Even the rabbis have stated that when science has proven something we believed in the Torah to be wrong, then we've misinterpreted the Torah, and we have to go back and rediscover what the meaning and the message was from that statement. Judaism by no means denies science. It's supposed to be an evolving religion that changes with the times and a greater understanding of nature and the world.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Gary. We really appreciate this discussion, and it made, I think, all of us think about what it made me consider was how no matter how hopeless something appears, the change that we're seeking in our communities or in our world or in our own life, we need to keep light the candle anyway. We can't not light the candle because it looks like it's not going to work. We have to keep on lighting a candle. We have to keep on loving, keep on hoping, and no matter how hopeless it looks, no matter how many demagogues are in office, no matter how many times it looks like it's not going to work, we just really, really need to keep it on. The light needs to stay on, our own light. So thank you so much.
So this is called a nigun, which means that there are no words. They're just nonsense syllables. And we sang this back during high holidays. And I told you a little story that Jews are fond of arguing points of view. So a small child went to a rabbi and said, "Rabbi, what was the meaning of the Torah portion that you talked about this morning in the synagogue?" And the rabbis said, "Well, what do you think?" And the child gave her answer. And the rabbi said, "Well, it could be that, or it could be that, or it could be something else completely." So while we sing, we're going to keep time with our hitchhiker thumbs. And it's called I Diddy Die. I diddy die, 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 die. I diddy die, die, die. I diddy die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. This is the second verse. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. I die, die, die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. Now we go a little faster. I diddy die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. I diddy die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die. Super fast. I diddy die, die. I diddy die, die. I diddy die, die. I diddy die, die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die, die. Die, 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 die. I diddy die, die.